ain't going back. Not gonna buy into all that. Hey, ain't gonna hide, gonna let all the fears slide. Got mother nature is on my side. Got all of the loving growing inside.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the Odyssey of Truth. I'm Lorenzo from the New Now, here with Cambell from Autodidactic. We're going to go into 3.5. We're discussing the heart's voice. In number 3, we discussed responsibility, how to go inside and see how to figure out for yourself what you need to do for yourself. And this will be another addition to that, in perhaps how you can figure out how to take your own best advice so you can make your own best choices for how you would like to be alive. Hey, Cambell.
How you going, Lorenzo?
Good.
Yeah, the heart's voice. Yeah, we talked a lot about responsibility in episode 3, and responsibility obviously has so much to do with listening to yourself, because it's I think responsibilities have to be based. You have to have an ethical or moral basis, for what you. Or else what are you going to be responsible for, right? If you don't have values, then there's no point being responsible for anything. So I think this, when we get down to the crux of it, this is really all about, knowing who we are, listening to that heart voice or that little voice inside, or your gut, whatever you want to call it. And really, just becoming someone who's, in the world, but not of the world, where we can take in information, but then we've got that gap and we can view it. Okay, that's information, rather than being, wrapped up in it and attached emotionally to it, and which they love to do with their fear, don't they?
Yes.
Come on, attached to this, it's so scary.
Attached to that. I mean, it's really important, we found, is especially as things are getting more crazy, to understand how you can navigate through the world. To kind of understand, like if you buy a map, for example, like let's say you go into a disreputable map store and you buy a map for how to drive from one end of Australia to the other, or one end of Canada to the other, and they haven't done the research, or they want to trick you and they're selling you like a map maybe that leads to their friend's store that sells useless trinkets and baubles or whatever. It could be seen as a way to distract you. So what we want to discuss today in your heart's voice is to figure out, how you can learn to navigate in your life from point A to point B, whatever that is for yourself. I mean, I would take it to be, if we take a moment right now, if you think, most people think behind their eyes, let's say, right? If you're thinking right now, I'm deciding what color I want to wear, what I want to make for dinner, what I'm going to do next week, how I'm going to, spend my paycheck this week. Generally, that comes into your brain behind your eyes, and, that's where you're considering things. Now, if you have a feeling, though, let's say for a lady or a vocation or a way to move or what you would like to do with your life, I mean, you imagine you get these feelings of things. Now, if you go into your body a bit, those feelings don't come from your head, right? As Cambell said, they come from your gut brain, or they come from your heart, or they can come from a different part of your body, or who knows where they come from. But if you're honest with yourself, you can tell that these feelings do not come from between your eyes. They come from somewhere else. So we're going to discuss today a little bit about what that means, how to get there, and how that can perhaps help you to navigate through the crazy that's going on right now. Because if anybody knows, Cambell and I have talked about TV being what it is, and newspapers being what they are, and the TV being what it is, and the politicians being what they are. And all of that, I would say, is directly related to an attack or an inculcation, which means to be forced inside of you into a place where they want you to consider life. And all of that, at least for me, goes to my head. So how to circumnavigate that to make a better life for yourself would be, I would say, a good approach to a better way to be alive.
Yeah, we've been taught, through schooling and everything, society, that all thought happens in the brain, right? It's all your brain or your mind, which is not true. We know we have plexuses, through our body, and these are basically mini brains, nerve bundles, and the one in our solar plexus in our gut is it's the second biggest to the actual brain, and then we have the heart, which has the biggest electromagnetic field. So, it's been proven, there's definitely a link to all these different, minds. We don't just have this brain, and that's a trap, because the brain gets you, inside your left brain, left side of your brain. It sort of says, all this stuff that you can't see doesn't exist, so don't listen to it. And so this is the thing, we've got to really start, going, they call it shadow work, right? When you get rid of, sort of trauma and stuff from the past. But I think we need to do that as well, as far as just our viewpoints, just examining, what do we believe and why? We have all these thoughts, and to the point where people, we've seen it, right? They go off their nuts yelling and screaming, and you ask them, what's the reason? Where are you coming from? And they can't tell you. They do not know, because they're just repeating other people's opinions and buying into the fear. But if you stop and think, well, why do I even believe this? And start sort of going backwards, I think you'll be interested in what you find, because a lot of the time you find there's not a lot of basis for what we believe are our sort of core values. When you really look at it, it's like, oh, I don't even know where I got that from. So how can it be a core value? So it's reevaluating ourselves and what we believe and what we've been taught to believe. And again, it's this whole thing of being in the world, but not of the world. So, you can bring yourself above it. Like I call it helicopter view. You can go above the world and look down, and you're not a part of it. You can see all the workings and that way you can detach and go, oh, well, okay, I can see that would be better for me, or that would be better for me. Just gives yourself options rather than living through other people's opinions, which is what most of us are doing. We're living in uncertain times. We don't know what's going to go on. Job security is pretty much out the window, dependent a lot on, the choices that you make and the information you want to give. So what are you going to do? Are you looking for something new? Are you looking for a new way to create wealth for your family that is, shall we say, Babylon proof? And on top of that, are you looking for a good group of people to work with, a good network? Because as we know, going forward, this is all about creating networks of people on our frequency who have the same morals and ethics and intent, and who all want to walk forward together and create something so much better. So if you're looking for some good products, a good business, and most of all, a good group of people, I think we may have found something you might be interested in.
You don't need to sell your soul to make a living. You don't need to sell your soul to have your family happy, healthy, and free. A simple shift in what you would like to do, the same amount of energy, and it can all come back to you. Freedom Shift Life. Campbell did it, I did it. Happy to see you there.
freedomshift.life.
Can't make me lie to my heart. No one tells me where I should start.